Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to 168 Hours, your weekly roundup of the top local stories. I'm Abdullah Ahil, your host for the evening. Stay tuned. President Dr. Mohamed Muiz formally establishes the Maldives Media and Broadcasting Commission following his ratification of the Maldives Media and Broadcasting Regulation Bill.
The newly constituted body consolidates media oversight under a single authority, assuming the regulatory functions previously held by two separate entities. It will oversee both print and broadcast media across the country. The new commission was established under Section 4 of the legislation, which also mandated the dissolution of the Maldives Media Council (MMC) and the Maldives Broadcasting Commission. Their respective mandates and operational duties are now consolidated under the new commission, which is expected to streamline governance and enhance regulatory coherence. Charged with enforcing ethical standards and professional conduct, the Commission will implement the principles outlined in the legislation and its accompanying regulations. It will also oversee a formal complaints mechanism enabling individuals to report alleged violations by media organizations, broadcasters, journalists, and other professionals. Investigatory powers granted under the law allow the Commission to assess these complaints and impose disciplinary measures where appropriate. To maintain continuity during the transition, the legislation provides for an interim administrative arrangement. A 5-member temporary committee appointed by the Civil Service Commission will manage the Commission's affairs until permanent members are formally instated.
Minister of Economic Development and Trade Mohamed Saeed announces work is underway to develop the legal and policy framework for the Maldives' first investor residency visa program.
The initiative, which Minister Saeed described as a strategic effort to attract foreign capital and broaden the national economic base, marks a significant step in the government's push for economic diversification. Minister Saeed stated that the program is currently in its design phase. Efforts are focused on defining its structural components, regulatory architecture, and enabling legislation. Stakeholder engagement has been central to the program's development. A second round of consultations concluded in mid-September following preliminary meetings held in August 2025. The discussions convened representatives from Henley and Partners, an international advisory firm specializing in investment migration, alongside officials from the ministry, other government institutions, and members of the private sector. Minister Saeed announced the outcome of the meetings via social media. The consultations are intended to shape the program's operational contours and ensure alignment with international best practices while reflecting national economic priorities. The government's formal partnership with Henley and Partners was ratified during a business forum held in Singapore, part of President Dr. Mohamed Muiz's official visit to the city-state. During the forum, the government signed a service agreement for a residence by investment program with the firm, formally launching the collaborative effort. Investor residency programs are widely adopted across developed economies and have proven effective in attracting foreign capital. Although the Maldives has not previously implemented such a scheme, officials express confidence in its potential to position the country as a competitive destination for global investors. Government projections suggest that the program could attract up to $6 billion in investment over its first 5 years, underscoring its anticipated role in strengthening economic resilience and expanding the country's investment portfolio.
President Dr. Mohamed Muiz successfully fulfills a key electoral campaign pledge, ensuring that the vital service of national identity card issuance is now fully accessible in all administrative atolls of the Maldives. This nationwide rollout culminated with the official launch of services in Fulidu, Vav Atoll, marking a significant milestone in bringing essential government functions closer to the people. The final provincial ID card service, inaugurated by the Minister of Finance and Planning, Musa Zamir, in Fulidu, during President Dr. Muiz's ongoing tour of 4 atolls where he has personally observed and championed the expansion of essential government services. The journey of national identity documentation in the Maldives began on the 1st of May 1984. The transition to the computerization of citizenship cards in 2003 saw the introduction of plastic cards and the establishment of 174 collection centers nationwide, providing convenient access for citizens. However, in 2021, a pivotal shift occurred when the Department of National Registration, or DNR, moved to an online-only ID card application system, a measure necessitated by the global COVID-19 pandemic. This change inadvertently served the DNR's direct ties with local councils, forcing citizens to travel to the capital Male for all ID card-related services. This resulted in a significant loss of accessibility, prolonged delays, and a substantial backlog when the current government took office. A staggering 3,348 ID card applications remained unissued. Addressing this critical public grievance, President Dr. Muiz's administration swiftly moved to overhaul the system. They abolished the restrictive online-only application model and introduced NARES, a specialized portal allowing citizens to apply for ID cards directly through their respective island councils, vastly improving local accessibility. President Dr. Muiz had initially announced his ambitious plan during last year's Republic Day celebrations, pledging to establish ID card and passport services in all atolls by the end of this year. The project to expand ID card services to the people began in earnest on the 16th of November last year, with a comprehensive roadmap prepared for nationwide implementation. With the launch in Fulidu, President Dr. Muiz confirmed the full realization of this pledge. Beyond national borders, the government is also working to extend ID card services to Maldivian communities in key international locations, including Malaysia, Sri Lanka, India, and the United Kingdom. This comprehensive initiative, which brings essential services directly to citizens' doorsteps, underscores President Dr. Muiz's commitment to alleviating public suffering and prioritizing the convenience and well-being of every Maldivian. President Dr. Mohamed Muiz affirms that there will be no restrictions in expressing opinions in accordance with the truth in the Maldives, urging citizens and media alike to uphold veracity and responsibility. President Dr. Muiz referred to the new Maldives Media and Broadcasting Regulation Act to emphasize that while truthful expression is paramount, the spread of falsehoods and rumors aimed at creating discord will not be tolerated. He stressed that a united society built on dignity and mutual respect is essential for national stability. The president pointed out that speaking untruthfully, especially by politicians or media professionals, can undermine national peace, noting that spreading unchecked rumors is also forbidden in Islam. President Dr. Muiz underscored the collective responsibility of citizens to uphold the values and principles deeply rooted in the nation's Islamic identity. He stressed that enduring peace and national stability can only be achieved through intellectual cultivation and recognition of every individual's inherent dignity. In this regard, he firmly stated that Muslims must refrain from making false accusation against others. The president reiterated that the recently passed Maldives Media and Broadcasting Regulation Act encourages truthful reporting and responsible journalism. He clarified that law supports the dissemination of verifiable information but does not grant anyone the right to fabricate stories or spread unsubstantiated claims. Addressing concerns, President Muiz dismissed lies being circulated about the new act, particularly claims of social media bans, describing such misinformation as uncivilized, which assured the government would not permit to spread. He urged citizens to exercise discernment and form independent judgments rather than solely relying on prevailing public sentiment. He also reaffirmed his commitment to not influencing independent institutions or the judiciary, asserting that his government has put an end to the culture of political retaliation. President Dr. Mohamed Muiz pledges to complete Magudu's long-delayed airport project within 1 year, reaffirming his administration's commitment to advancing stalled infrastructure across the country.
The airport, contracted to the Maldives Transport and Contracting Company (MTCC) in October 2022, remains only 50% complete. Residents express apprehension that the project might be abandoned, citing its strategic importance to Magudu's economic and social development. In response, President Muiz offered a firm assurance that construction would resume and proceed without further interruption. The president confirmed that his administration would investigate the causes of delay, consult with the relevant ministry and contractor, and take necessary steps to expedite progress. He also inspected the airport site during his visit. In addition to the airport, the president announced that development of the island's healthcare would begin this year alongside measures to address space constraints at the local school. The Magudu Island Council also requested government support for a proposed integrated tourism initiative in the island's lagoon. Magudu has a population of approximately 1,000. The visit marked the ceremonial launch of construction for a new council office building. The ceremony was officiated by Adam Sharif Umar, Minister of Cities, Local Government and Public Works, joined by the local Member of Parliament and the President of the Magudu Council. President Muizu was in attendance. Construction work commenced on a new police station in Magudu aimed at strengthening law enforcement and public safety. The project was jointly launched by Minister of Homeland Security and Technology Ali Ihsan, Commissioner of Police Ismail Naveen, and the Managing Director of Fenaco Corporation, which has been appointed as the contractor. A separate ceremony marked the beginning of construction for a fitness and recreation center designed to promote health and well-being among residents. The project was formally launched by Minister of Sports, Fitness and Recreation Abdullah Rafiu alongside MTCC Managing Director Ahmad Saudi. Members of the Magudu Island Council and senior government officials were also present. President Muizu also inaugurated a new Bank of Maldives BML ATM service on Magudu, enhancing access to financial services for residents. Following the launch, the president presented a commemorative bank card to the Island Council. With this installation, BML has completed ATM coverage across all inhabited islands of Fafu Atoll, making it the 13th atoll in the Maldives to achieve full ATM service provision. The island was the 10th stop of his ongoing tour of 4 atolls.
President Dr. Mohamed Muiz, during a visit to the island of Darambudu, Faf Atoll, unveils a wide-ranging development agenda, inaugurated key public services, and met with local officials and residents to discuss community priorities.
Addressing Darambudu's population of approximately 600, President Muizu outlined a development vision centered on enhancing the island's sports infrastructure. Recognizing its reputation as a sports-oriented community, he pledged to construct a football field, a volleyball court, and a running track. The foundation stone for the fitness and recreational facility was laid during the visit. Additional commitments included the completion of a youth center and the introduction of a badminton venue with all facilities designed for nighttime use. The president also attended the commencement of construction of a new health center building, pledging that essential medical services would be established upon its completion. As an interim measure, he committed to assigning an additional nurse to the existing health center and extending its operating hours to 16 hours daily. In addition to healthcare and sports, the president pledged further investments in public services. These include the construction of a police station building to enhance law enforcement capacity and the expansion of the local school through the addition of a multi-purpose hall and 3 new classrooms to address space constraints. He also committed to addressing the island's coastal erosion challenges, confirming that many of the proposed projects would be incorporated into the upcoming national budget. During the visit, President Muizu convened a formal meeting with the Darambudu Island Council, the Women's Development Committee (WDC), and heads of local institutions at the council's secretariat. The president also inaugurated a new Bank of Maldives (BML) ATM service on the island. To mark the occasion, he presented a commemorative bank card to the Island Council. The installation represents the first provision of ATM services on Darambudu, offering residents improved access to banking facilities. Darambudu was the 9th island visited by President Muizu during his ongoing 4 atoll tour and the 4th stop within Fafu Atoll.
The Civil Service Commission, or CSC, appoints a 5-member interim committee to oversee the nation's media and broadcasting affairs, acting under provisions of the newly ratified Maldives Media and Broadcasting Regulation Act. The appointments, formalized on the 21st of September, follow the law's entry into force on the 18th of September following presidential assent.
Under the legislation, the CSC was required to establish a transitional body within 3 days of enactment. The committee will assume the responsibilities of the Maldives Media and Broadcasting Commission until a permanent entity is constituted. Officials have already convened with the appointees to initiate consultations and formally transfer duties. The committee comprises senior officials drawn from across government ministries and national institutions. Its members include Ali Zaki, Director General at the Ministry of Youth Empowerment, Information and Arts; Ahmad Mamoon, Director General at the Ministry of Cities, Local Government and Public Work; Aminat Shahida, Director General at the Ministry of Economic Development and Trade; Aminat Nasir, Director General at the Ministry of Islamic Affairs; and Imad Muhammad, Chief Cooperative Executive at the National Archives of Maldives. This interim arrangement is designed to facilitate the transition to a permanent commission which will be composed differently. The final body will consist of 7 members, 3 appointed by the Parliament and 4 elected directly by registered media organizations. The legislation sets forth a precise procedural timeline for the formation of the Permanent Commission. Within 15 days of the law's enactment, the Parliament is required to open applications for its 3 appointees. A further 10-day period is allocated for parliamentary approval of the selected candidates, who will then be formally appointed by the President. Responsibility for the electoral component rests with the Elections Commission of Maldives. The inaugural vote for the 4 media-elected representatives must be held within 30 days of the law's commencement. All registered broadcasters and media outlets are eligible to participate, with each organization entitled to a single vote. The Maldives Media and Broadcasting Regulation Act constitutes a comprehensive restructuring of the country's media oversight framework. It consolidates the functions of the former Maldives Media Council and the Maldives Broadcasting Commission into a single regulatory authority. In addition to its supervisory mandate, the new commission will assume responsibilities previously held by government ministries, including the registration of media outlets and broadcasters. All existing documentation and archives related to newspapers and magazines formerly maintained by the relevant ministry will be transferred to the commission's jurisdiction.
President Dr. Mohamed Muiz announces a sweeping set of financial reforms intended to stabilize the Maldivian economy, dismantle the US dollar black or parallel market, and broaden access to affordable housing. Addressing residents of Muli in the Meme Atoll, President Muiz outlined a strategy to increase foreign currency availability and extend long-term housing loans through the National Bank. He described the measures as a rescue from the slavery of the dollar parallel market and said they were designed to improve the prosperity of Maldivian citizens. The reforms follow the Foreign Currency Act, which took effect on the 1st of January and requires certain businesses, particularly in the tourism sector, to convert a portion of their foreign currency earnings through local banks. The president noted that the law has already boosted dollar reserves and increased foreign currency inflows from tourism, easing the nation's dollar shortage. From the 11th of November, the government will introduce measures to improve access to foreign currency. A central element is the installation of US dollar automated teller machines, or ATMs, on 40 islands currently without them, with priority given to the country's 7 designated urban centers and islands with developed tourism sectors. President Muiz also announced the easing of restrictions on overseas transactions through the Bank of Maldives, or BML. To reduce reliance on the US dollar, the government will promote the use of other major currencies in trade and commerce. BML will begin offering accounts denominated in Chinese yuan, supported by UnionPay debit and credit cards accepted in more than 180 countries from the 1st of January 2026. A similar arrangement is planned for the Indian rupee, with BML working towards its implementation. Alongside currency reforms, the president announced plans to expedite the Hiavehi Housing Finance Program, aimed at assisting individuals facing financial challenges in building homes on privately owned land. The facility offers favorable terms, including a low profit margin of 5% and a repayment period of 25 years. The government has committed $64.85 million annually to the national budget to sustain the scheme. The Bank of Maldives has been tasked with administering and disbursing the funds. President Muiz underscored that these measures, addressing both immediate economic pressures and long-term social welfare, form part of the government's broader commitment to strengthening the national economy and ensuring the financial security of its people. President Dr. Mohamed Muiz, during an official visit to Kolofushi in Mima Atoll as part of a multi-atoll tour, unveils a series of development initiatives aimed at addressing housing shortages and advancing local infrastructure. A central focus of the visit was the island's housing needs. President Muiz confirmed that 100 housing flats already constructed on Kolofushi will be formally handed over to residents by the end of the year. He stated that the government is giving special priority to ensuring residents can move into these homes as soon as possible. To facilitate this, Fenaca Corporation, the state-owned utility provider, has been tasked with connecting water and sewerage systems to the completed flats, with a deadline set for year-end. The president also announced a reduction in the pricing of the housing units from approximately $324 to $216, aimed at increasing affordability for residents. Recognizing the continued demand for housing, President Muiz pledged that a project for an additional 100 flats would be incorporated into the national budget for the upcoming year. Construction on the new phase is scheduled to begin next year. The initiative will also accommodate residents who wish to build on their own private land under the same framework. 2 additional infrastructure projects were launched during the visit: the construction of a fitness and recreation center and the commencement of a road development initiative. The president described the road project as a critical effort linked to both the island's infrastructure and its economy. The president convened a formal meeting with the Kolofushi Island Council, the Women's Development Committee or WDC, and heads of local institutions at the council secretariat. Beyond institutional dialogue, the president invited members of the public to present their concerns directly. Residents requested the government expedite stalled tourism projects in the region. In response, the president stated that he would review the relevant agreements and work to resolve the matter quickly. Community members also called for the development of a football field and a handball court, facilities the president pledged to deliver. The road development initiative for Kolofushi was formally launched during President Muiz's official visit to the island and was officiated by Minister of Construction, Housing and Infrastructure Dr. Abdullah Muttalib. President Muiz's arrival on Kolofushi marked a key segment of his official tour of Mima Atoll, itself part of a wider initiative to visit all 31 inhabited islands across 4 atolls. The overarching aim is to foster direct dialogue with councils and citizens throughout the country. President Dr. Mohamed Muiz announces a major rollout of 200 ice-producing RSW, or refrigerated seawater systems, to fishing vessels across the nation, underscoring the government's commitment to modernizing the fishery sector and enhancing local livelihoods.
Addressing the community of Hirilandu Atoll as part of his ongoing tour of 4 atolls, the president highlighted the new government-funded program designed to provide cooling systems to fishing vessels. He elaborated that 200 of these crucial systems, which significantly improve fish quality, would be distributed to vessels before Fishermen's Day celebrated on 10th December, contributing to a total of 300 systems being issued under the initiative. Notably, Hirilandu stands out in this round with 4 vessels from the island selected to receive RSW systems, the largest allocation of any single island in this phase of the program. Further bolstering local fishing capabilities, a new cold storage facility is slated for establishment in Hirilandu as part of next year's budget, aiming to provide essential infrastructure for fishermen. Beyond fisheries, the president outlined a series of significant infrastructure upgrades for Hirilandu. He announced the official handover of the harbour development project to a contractor and pledged to further dredge land for the island to facilitate industrial activities and foster more local businesses. Educational enhancements are also a priority, with the island schools development set to conclude before the next academic year, alongside prioritized improvements to the health centre. Residents can also look forward to a modern new mosque, which the president described as the most modern building in the island, and the development of a high-quality football ground and additional sports facilities to be included in the next year's budget. President Dr. Muiz during the visit met with members of Hirilandu Island Council, the Women's Development Committee and heads of local institutions to discuss key development concerns. The president assured participants that the government would take their concerns into consideration. He was accompanied by cabinet ministers and senior officials from state-owned enterprises who also provided updates on ongoing development projects. Almost the entire resident population of Hirilandu flocked near the island harbour to greet President Dr. Muiz upon his arrival as part of the Thai Atoll segment of his ongoing marathon tour of 4 atolls.
That's all we have for now. Thank you for watching 168 Hours. See you next time.
ವ್ಯಾಪಾರಿಗೆ ದಾಯಿರಾಯಿನ್ ರಾಜ್ಯನ್ ಹೋದ ಮುಂದ ಕೊರಿಯರುಂಟ
ಹತ್ತಾಗ್ತರೆಗ ಫಾಹಕೊಲಬೆ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರಿ ಹಬರ್ದಕ ಕಂಫರ್ಟ್ ಕೊಂಕುರಮಗೆಂದ ಮಸ್ಸಕತ್ತ
इक़्तिसादी वज़ीर विदालवी कुरियंग वेतिंग हर राज्य के माली निज़ाम अंगन्ना बदल तकाकुले रंगलु फिस्कल अंदाज़ा तकें हदा एगरी
मदरुन जागा तनवस कुरुमा कागो गेनेस बेहेट्टेन मुद्दतु वरंग अवह कुडकुरब वानकम
तेओ अळंजे हेवारु इतुरवे फावा कमशा एहें कमन राज्य मिकमगे फायदा कुराने कमा
कास्ट्रो लुब्रिकेंट और में विकम मिगेंदनी हम अनावस्ते का हफ्ता को फिशिंग मियदा हमें
मसक फेट्टुमो अलबंडा फाह कुरंगदी कमकी मिकमगा डिमांड एक वरंग अवह मुदा गौमतक फोन बेनो फतिबे फरायतක ඒ ෆුර්සතෙන් උළුවිගේ මිදියේ
ಕುರಿಯರಮುಂಗ ಅಂದ ಕುದಿ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರಿ ತೋಗ ತಜ್ರಿಬಾಯ ಪುರಿ ಗೊಂಜೆ ಹುಂತ
ನೀ ವ್ಯಾಪಾರಿ ತೆರೆ ಬಣ್ಣಂ ಫಶಾಯಿರು ಟೇಕ್ ಇಟ್ ಸ್ಲೋ ವಜೀಫಾ ಕವಸ್